last night's camp position. We've all woken up to a beautiful day as predicted. It's supposed to be a lovely sunny day today. Great view down the estuary to Shotley. Shotley on the corner just there, where we come from last night. Boats, same boats are still in Parks and Quays, so they didn't shift in the night. There's been a few tugs moving around though, so I suspect something's moving. The yachts are still there. They're definitely at anchor last night because I see somebody put a light up. I had to bring my boat down here at some point. It's a good, really nice place to anchor. Not sure how far the tide went up. I was already fast asleep. I suspect where this green line is just here. We can see our destination. I think our actual camp destination is opposite. I'm pretty sure that's Stour Woods opposite. That's tomorrow night's camp position. We've got to walk away down the estuary and all the way back down. But that little town you see in the distance there, that's Manningtree. That's today's halfway destination. Apart from the rumbling, this is a really nice place to come. There's a constant rumbling coming from the port. I think it's Felixstowe, to be honest, where they're shifting all the containers around. But it's constant, you hear it all through the night, but obviously a deep rumble like that is actually quite soothing rather than annoying. That and the sound of the river slopping up on the beach. Obviously you can't smell anything for a camera, but there's a lovely salty smell around here. Got some breakfast on the go, just a homemade porridge mix and the coffee. The people at the pub kindly filled me water bottle up me. So I carried that here, obviously for the use for camping. That's one of the biggest problems of camping around this area. There's very little places where you can. We've got no freshwater river, so there's no point in bringing a water filter because there's nothing to filter water with. You just have to rely on like pubs. If you stop for a drink, pubs don't mind you asking for some water. Shops as well. Shops will do it as well. So they have little kitchens out the back, so they don't have a problem with it. You don't want to be carrying too heavy water around for too long period of time. We'll get on with breakfast, get the rest packed up, and then we can get moving. No idea what the time is. I haven't had a look at my phone yet. 6:20. This was last night's camp position. Don't forget, leave no trace. If you do this, make sure you take everything home. Once I packed up here, you wouldn't even know I was here. That's the idea of it. And come back here again at some point and I'll leave it for someone else to enjoy. I suspect other people have camped here before. It's a nice place. Let's get going. On the move again, all packed up, all clean. It's now around about 7:15, I think it is, 7:30. Just got to follow this path along. It's a very straightforward walk, straight down, straight back up. Once you get to Manningtree, there's like a bridge that goes across the estuary where you meet the freshwater side of the Stour. You've seen that on my other videos because that's where I go kayaking quite a lot. Only because we've got not much in choice around this area. Going to go through this field of, I believe, are potatoes. big sign there says private, no access. I think that means the road that goes that direction. But we're not going that way anyways. That was an enjoyable night. Got there quite late, but because it took a bit. I was expecting to be able to camp just out of the houses from Shotley, but unfortunately there wasn't anything suitable, so I had to walk a little bit further. It's only about 45 minutes walk to this spot, so that's okay. And carry on going. Some people ask me why I always have long trousers when I go hiking. Well, this is the reason. This is the path. This is like this on the other side as well. Now if you're wearing shorts, you're going to get scratched and stung like nose business. This is all this is brambles and stinging nails. This is why I wear long trousers. So as a bit of a tip when you're going hiking, always wear long trousers. You never know what the paths are going to be like. You have to sort of like push yourself through sometimes, especially if you're going through areas where the weather's been without like a mixture of like heavy sun and heavy rain. And obviously that makes the plants go mental. Most of this has happened within the last 2 or 3 weeks. That's not so bad there, look, that's just grasses. But on that side it was actually brambles all the way along. So if you're wearing shorts, you're going to get scratched to buggery. Keep going. Thought I was going to be able to get closer to here and see them very often. He's gone. The path now takes us along the beach for quite some distance. It's a little bit odd. So, high tides, it probably makes this inaccessible. Look at the maps and it's definitely right. I'm just saying that if you followed the edge of the cliff there, I think you'd be okay. I know it's extremely very high tide. We're climbing again, not far from the hospital school. Had to climb because there's too much debris on the beach. There's the stuff that the path takes you around that. Come to another a meadow lined field. Lots of poppies and some yellow ones mixed in with this one. So it's even more interesting. You have to love the colours of summer. It feels like a summer's day today. A little bit of sun. Lucky enough it's not as powerful as it has been, so it's not too hot. We're carrying on here, see the bay in the distance there. We've got to go around the bay, then head towards Manningtree. That's Holbrook, that's school, so we haven't got a massive distance to cover. Keep going. We're a little bay at Holbrook. You have to walk around this section. You come in on the fields over there, then you go walk around. Quite a nice little walk in itself. There's like a seating area over there that's quite decent. There's like road access quite close to here. Nice place to come if you're for a picnic, however. If there is. Decent moorings, nicely sheltered bay. Obviously the limited tide access, but as long as you live with that, they're decent. Some nice boats. Sadly quite a lot of neglected ones as per usual. You get that on every set of moorings. There's always some that have been not touched for a long time, especially these two in the middle here. Used to be someone's pride and joy, now it's just a rotting piece of plastic. When they built fiberglass boats, they didn't know how long they were going to last. Reality is, fiberglass more or less lasts forever. The only thing that destroys it is fire, and even then that takes some doing. We'll keep going. That's Rabness Beach over the other side there, with the little, as you can see, the little bungalows on the beach. That's holiday places. You can't actually walk along there, that's private beach. They get a bit funny. I went on many years ago, boarded there on a boat on a friend's dinghy, and some old woman come flying out saying you can't board here, beach here. But in this country you can, as long as you're below the tide line. Even private beaches, because there's a bit anywhere below the tide line is free land. It's one of the few places where you can officially have a fire as well. So if you do like camping with a fire, if you find a beach and have a fire below the tide line, that's completely legal. I think that's legal around the whole country. We'll keep going. We're in a bay now. Goes out and then along. Gone inland again. We're actually bouldering on the edge of the hospital school fields now. It's a huge great cricket ground, immaculately kept ground as well by the looks of it. There's been some work gone into maintaining that. We've gone inland because it's a private land again on the actual coast, on the beachy part. So we'll just keep going. We're on the outskirts, edge of Stutton. We're on the road for a little bit now, because you have to go round. Then we'll head back down towards the coast again. I think where we go down is where we camped before. Not 100% sure, because everything looks a bit similar around here. Beautiful old church again. We had to come through a private garden, which is lovely, rather lovely house with immaculate gardens. They've got a public footpath that runs through it. Markwell Farm. It's a hell of a place to live. Huge great houses. That one there. We'll keep going, going to be on the road for a little while. Then we turn off, head back down and carry on towards the Manningtree. So we come our way round. It's quite some distance, to be honest, several miles. You have to go inland, across through roads and farmland. And then eventually you end up here, which is called Sutton Mill. Hell of a place to live, I have to say. Look at that look at the view they've got as well. Loads of swans and black swans as well there, and geese. I assume these are the swans that you see in Mistley Tower sometimes. It's all in the same river. It's just that's Mistley over there, and Manningtree. We've got to go round here. You can actually see the final destination now. The bay that we've got to go round. It's not too far. I'm going to have a bit of a rest stop shortly though, because my feet are starting to get a bit sore. We'll keep going for a little bit. And we've come off the Stour now. We're coming up to Catawade. You have to sort of go past, over the railway line and past these industrial little industrial units. As you get to Catawade, we go over the Stour where it turns into a freshwater river. There's a fishing lake here. I've actually been fishing on here before. This is one of the Paxman's lakes. If you join the Paxman's fishing club, this is one of the lakes you can fish at. Lovely little lake. Not the quietest place though, because you've got a railway industrial unit just above it. Oh, we've reached the end of the Stour. This is where the salt water turns into fresh water. Salt water this side. And there's a launching slip here so you can get onto the river. As long as you can row and get underneath the sailing dinghy, you can get underneath that railway bridge and then get onto the main river. And this side's the freshwater side. You can launch there as well. A few people launch kayaks now here. There's also a launching point which I normally use on the other side. This is a good alternative if it's the other side's busy. They've created tidal pools on this side for wildlife haven. Stark contrast to the horrible industrial area that's over there. There's all new roads gone in, so it looks like it's going to be redeveloped, which is about time because it's always been a bit of an eyesore. So that's Manningtree town over there. We sort of like follow this river round. You end up going into a road called the Beaches. There's a popular parking spot for people to chill out. Me and the missus go there sometimes. Lots of swans. There's normally a burger van there as well, so if you want something to eat, there's normally somewhere you can get something. Now, I wouldn't mind living there. A little house on the river. You go fishing off your back garden. We'll carry on. This is Manningtree. The town that was in the distance is now a reality. We're going to carry on along the walls. I called it the Beaches earlier, but I think it's actually called the Walls. It's a path that eventually leads to Mistley. There's normally a burger van there so we can get something to eat. There we go, it's called the Walls. Been here many times. Right, we've navigated behind Mistley. A bit of a slog to be honest. You have to sort of go up a fairly steep hill, then down the main road and then back down the path to get back to here. It's because it's all private. There's no access across the because of the private. There's a rotting hulk of an old ship there. Such a shame. Looks like an old Thames barge by the looks of it. Oh no, it's wood. No, it's not going to be a Thames barge, is it? Because they're made of steel. Some sort of freight barge. River's pretty wide at this point. Obviously we're heading back upriver again now. Heading back towards what would be Harwich and Shotley. Obviously not going that far. We're going to the woods, what you can see in the distance there. I think that's the Stour woods behind there, maybe a little bit further on. We'll keep going. We're coming up to the railway line that takes us to Stour woods. You have to sort of go under the railway to get to it. The path that leads up to it, just go past here. This is Grace and Perry's house. It's called the House for Essex. Been here for quite some time, I think. It's featured in many architectural and fashion magazines. See it better from the side because you can see the colours properly. Different, isn't it? Made it into the woods. Been here a few hours now, to be honest. I actually set up an airbed more or less as soon as I got here so I could lay down. I was actually knackered. I'm getting too old for these through hikes. I set the tarp up better tonight because I've got a lot more room to play with. I used an old bit of wood that I found laying around just to create the tension point on the rear. I've got it up, set up quite high. I'm not expecting any weather. Give me plenty of room then. Giving it a chance to air out. Some things are a little bit damp from this morning because of the condensation. You can probably see the glistening on the tarp because it's still wet from earlier. I've had some dinner. Got stuff sprawled out a bit there, to be honest, a bit messy. But I'm going to have a hot chocolate later, then some nuts, a few sweeties, and climb into bed later. It's been a good camp. There's only about 5 or 6 miles to walk tomorrow morning to get to Thorpe train station. From here, Radness, you drop down into Great Oakley, and we're actually going to drop down into Landermere after that because we're going to go past Landermere Quay. It's a slightly different route to what I had planned, but I was looking at it on the maps and it looks quite interesting. Then from there we'll drop down into Thorpe-le-Soken, get the train home. Probably won't film any more tonight, so I'll see you tomorrow morning. Good morning. Up nice and early. Went to bed pretty early, probably about 9 o'clock to be honest. I was pretty tired. Haven't got far to go today. At Radness at the moment. We're going to drop down into Great Oakley, then down into Landermere. Scouting the edge of the Walton backwaters, which would be quite nice. It's a slightly different route as planned, but looks more interesting. Reason being is because one of the routes that I originally planned, I was looking at it more closely on the map, and I think part of it's no access, so and getting around that part would be quite a long trek, so decided to skip down and go another route. If you subscribe to OS Maps on your phone, then you can access and make up your own maps, your own routes, should I say, on their own web app. It's really easy to use. That's how I make up these routes. Sort of create waypoints, and as you go along, and just go through footpaths, and sometimes you have to do the occasional road because footpaths don't go everywhere, but it's quite an easy way of doing it. Got the normal dehydrated breakfast on the go, coffee and porridge. It's a lovely day again. Woke up to the sound of the woods, as you can hear. A lot of bird life, a few deers. You don't hear as many deer as this time of year. It seems to be worse in the winter time. I'll get this eaten and we'll get underway. On the way back out of the forest, all packed and scattered some debris over the place where I'd been, so you couldn't see where I'd been. Don't forget, if you go wild camping, leave no trace. Everything you take with you, take back. Going a slightly different route back to what I would normally, because I need to be on the other side of the woods when we come out, rather than where I normally park. Obviously, because I've got no car here. Keep going. Best time to come in the woods is early morning. No one around, apart from the very occasional dog walker. I don't know if you can make it out. There's a fox up ahead. He hasn't seen me yet. I'll see if I can get as close as I can. He's actually late, having a snooze in the middle of the path. Let's try and sneak up on him as much as I can. Quickly. Oh, he's looking this way. Oh, there's two. The other one's looking right at me. There might be a vixen and cubs. I'll see if I can get as quick as possible, close as I can, as slowly as I can. He's completely oblivious. He's actually laying down. Oh no, he's seen us. He's gone. I just realised that we're running out of memory on the camera. I'm going to have to invest in another bigger memory stick, I think. 64 on this one, but it seems to be using up a lot of power. I think it might be because this is a high bitrate camera. Found some natives. Haven't been many animals on this trip, but there's a few there. A few dairy cows. I suppose because there's no fresh water, there's no rivers around here, so there's not you know, keeping animals is probably not the easiest thing to do. This is mostly flat arable land, anyways. But we'll leave it at this for the video, because as I said, the memory's running out. I've got about 4 miles to go. We're actually traversing through the middle of the countryside. If you have a look, we've actually come up, I think the woods site in the distance over there somewhere. We've gone about 3/4 of a mile so far, I think. We're coming up to a main road, you can probably hear it. After that we cross, traversing more farmland to Great Oakley, and then we'll drop into Landermere. I'm going to try and save a couple of minutes video just for Landermere because it's quite a nice place. Let's see if we can hold some time. Another little gem. Look at that, right in the middle of nowhere. Beautiful field full of daisies. Looks like it's a field that's just gone to fallow. Love little things like this. Reached Landermere, not far from the final destination. The final destination is about 1.5 to 2 miles in that way, in Thorpe. Not far at all really. Going to be calling the end of the video here though, because I've only got about 45 seconds of video left. Lovely spot, Landermere Quay. It's low tide at the minute, so everything looks a bit muddy. This all in fills with water at high tide. Don't forget, if you like the videos, click like and click subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Plenty more to come. This is a 2-part video. See you later. Get out there, get camping.